Okay, we will start by a new topic. It's replacement of a cutting unit by a FA 500.3. Yeah. Here you will find a presentation which we did with our development department. And here we show you what you have to do, which kind of equipment you need for replace the cutting units, for example. Here you have to make different between the cutting or between FA 500 with one cutting unit or unit with two cutting units. Yeah, when we have two cutting units, it's a little bit critical before you have first disassembled the second unit before you lift up the first unit, because both are directly connected. Yeah, and so you can lift up the first unit without disassembled the second unit. Yeah, and here are some pictures. I think it's necessary for you or important for you if you have the situation in a couple of months. Yeah, then you can look here what details you have to following. What kind of cover plates you have to disassemble. Don't disassemble too much as necessary, yeah? And so you should know which kind of coverings I have disassembled and which kind of coverings can stay on place, for example. Yeah? So, for example, when you have only to readjust the conveyor belt, for example, you have only disassembled the table in front, yeah? And so you can reach the screws where you can make the assemblies, yeah? Or the adjustments. Yeah? And here you see some parts. We only have the parts with coming from the technical drawing, because we don't did it on a real machine. Yeah. So we have here some technical drawings, and you see the details. Where for example, it's the main chain. Yeah, and you have to remove the main chain and so on. And you see here the main chain, and here also the connecting chain to the conveyor belt, for example. So you have to replace or disassemble the chain for remove the conveyor belt, complete conveyor belt. What means the part? It's a complete part of not only the belt, the complete assembly. The complete assembly, yeah, complete assembly, yeah. A whole cassette, yeah, yeah, cassette is the word, yeah. So you see here step by step what you do here, for example, to remove the rotor sensor, for example, yeah. This is placed here on this side, yeah. And so all the different parts here is the main wheel for the conveyor belt, yeah. Here you see also the parts, yeah. All the different parts which you have to remove. I think it's very good displayed here in detail what you have to do. Yeah. Yeah. The problem is by the new chassis of the FA 500. Normally we have only 4 wheels. Yeah. And then we want to split the machine, and it's necessary to split the machine here for reach the cutting unit. Then we have to adapt 4 additional wheels, yeah, for make the 2 parts movable. Yeah. So you need this additional wheels when you want to split or have to split the machine. Otherwise, it would fall down. Yeah. It's also important to know it. Yeah. So when you deliver, for example, a new cutting unit to your customer, adapt also the 4 additional wheels, yeah, yeah, because you need them. Here's where you can split the 2 units, and though we split the unit, yeah, and though each unit is standing on 4 wheels, yeah, and then we can reach the cutting units here. So you see every unit, every cutting unit have a separate motor, yeah. And when you want to replace this place is directly connected to the first unit, and you can only replace this when you assembled or disassembled the second unit before. Here you see we need such a forklifter for support the second cutting unit before we disconnect them. Yeah? And then we can take this kind of crane for lift up the first unit. Yeah? So we need also this kind of support sheet for you can lift up the second unit and you can move it then internal the machine. Yeah? So when you have to replace only the cutting unit, then you have also can use the motor once again, because only the cutting unit have to replace, not the motor, and then you have to split the cutting unit and the motor support and the chain and so on. Yeah, so you have to split outside these components and bring the old motor on a new cutting unit. Yeah, we only deliver this one here, and the motor have to be changed on the new unit. Yeah. Okay, I think it's important for you to have such presentations in background when you have the situation that you have to replace some of these units. Okay. Now we want to replace a cylinder by a V-Press 820. And I told you that you need a special tool without HSM part number. Okay, that's the situation. So we lift up the press ram, complete downwards, yeah, open the door, and in this case we support the press ram, I think, with a car check, but I think it's not really necessary. It makes sense, but it's not so necessary. Yeah? Then here, I'm not sure if I told you that you have to be proof if the system is pressureless. Yeah? So you need a small hexagon wrench to put in the valve on the A side and then on the B side. And when there is a pressure inside, you can hear that the pressure loose. Yeah? So here, these are the special couplings. Yeah? I told you when you have to bring downwards the cylinder, the normal hydraulic hoses are too short, and then you have to lengthen them with this separate unit here. Yeah? These are the hydraulic hoses, and these are the coupling here, for example, number 4. Yeah? You need the parts, yeah, for lengthen them by 65 millimeter, and then you have enough way for move the cylinder downwards. Yeah? Then here we have support from the press plate. So I think it's not necessary because the press plate is completed, fixed on these both guiding tubes normally. But then you have to disconnect this safety sheet here. Yeah? And then you see here our special work tool, which we have to drill in, and then we can hit with the weight and can pull the bolt outwards. Yeah? You see here this part. Here is this hole, and then we connect it there, and then we have a lot of power to pull the part. Yeah? Here you see number 6 is our special tool. Yeah, a block of wooden. Yeah, so on this wooden block, when we open the screw here, we can bring out or bring downwards the cylinder, and then this part will guide over this wooden block. It's such a wide block and only so thin. Yeah.
The jack underneath it help you get the holes lined up.
It's possible, yeah. Lift a little bit, yeah. That's possible, yeah. That you reduce the tension there. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, yeah. You understand what you mean? with the jack lifter, I can lift a little bit for loose the tension on this bolt. Yeah, yeah.
Instead of the weight of the plate hanging against.
Yeah, normally the press plate is hanging there, but it can be that you have here a tension there on this bolt, and then we can lift up a little bit, yeah, for make it easier to remove the part here. Yeah, it's makes sense. Yeah.
Then to put it back in too.
Yeah. Okay, this is the special part which you need. Yeah, part number of HSM here, and you see this is a weight, and you can hit with them, and I think you know this kind of tool. Yeah. Okay, this is the same situation. You here see the special tool, only the wooden block, dummy plugs. Okay, they close the cylinder hoses. Yeah, that no oil is coming out then. Yeah, and then they can remove the cylinder. You see it here. Okay.
That looks like a real fun job.
That's a real fun job, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And mostly one technician have to do it alone. Yeah. In such case, we mostly send only one technicians to the site.
That's how it would be.
Not two one. I think here we will have the same situation. It's too expensive that two technicians go 500 kilometers far to the next customers for remove one cylinder. Yeah, and though it's good when you have some helping tools. Yeah, also some wooden block when you are on site and you haven't this single part and this simple part. You it's not so easy. Yeah. Yeah, and when you have to search on site for such a wooden block, it's so easy. Yeah. And here see the additional hydraulic hoses. Yeah. Hydraulic plan. Yeah. Okay. Here you see. Make sure that you have no pressure in the system, of course.
Is there any bleeding that you have to do with the system, or does it self-bleed? Like getting air bubbles out of the hydraulic system,
Yep.
or does it pretty much just self-bleed it?
When you remove a new cylinder, or when you make the oil changing, for example, or when you remove hydraulic hose, you have air in the system. Yeah. And it should be, should make sure, or you should make sure that when you operate the machine under pressure, that the air is complete out.
Okay.
So when you have a new part, and you can be sure that that air is inside, move the cylinder downwards, upwards, downwards, upwards. Yeah.
Just do the
Sometimes
hydraulic
without go on pressure, only
Oh, okay.
slow moving, and then you press out the air, and we did it then I think 4 times, down and up, yeah, and then I think it's okay, yeah.
And then on your
But make sure that you don't go directly after a new installation on pressure,
Okay.
yeah. That can be damage a hydraulic cylinder, for example, damage also the seal, yeah. Okay. Okay. Replace a cylinder by a V-Press 860, for example. Where's my part? No, here. There's it. Okay. So we have the same situation, or different, not the same, the different situation. So we have here the hydraulic cylinder in the horizontal or in a vertical position. So you have normally, I told you, normally it makes sense to remove the press ram complete out of the machine. Yeah, it's a little bit more work, but you get a bigger workplace. Yeah, and it makes sense to do this additional step before. And here we have a special tool, but there we haven't the tool number. We decided that we don't bring them to all our technicians. But here in this presentation you see that we install such roller gates here, yeah, and we can lift up the press on this part the press plate, and then we can move them outwards on 3 pellets who are in place, and then we can bring up the complete press plate with the pellets, took them on site, and then we can work in a machine. Yeah? That makes sense. Otherwise, some colleagues bring only the press ram down in the press chamber, support them with a wooden pellet on the bottom side, and then they bring them only down in the press chamber and let them on place in the machine. Yeah? Depend on the technician. For this part, for example, you need surely this kind of yellow chain cranes, for example. You will see a little bit later what we have to do. This is our special crane, yeah, which I gave you, and here we have the situation that we have to remove, by the old one we have to remove this part, and under this part there's a hole where you can drill in ring nut, for example, and on this ring nut you can connect it the crane. Yeah, here you see it. Yeah, and then you can fix the crane on the main support with a round string. Yeah, and then you can lift them up very easy on bottom side. First fix them and then start for disconnecting the guiding tubes, and then disconnect the hydraulic cylinder. Yeah? The guiding tubes here are connected with 2 bolts from the bottom side of the press ram, yeah? And the cylinder are bolt on the top of them, 2 half rings with 3 bolts on each ring. Yeah? And then you have disconnect the screws, and by new press normally the press ram should go out. By older one the cylinder is stuck in the press ram. Yeah? And then sometimes there's a picture where you see disconnect the screws from the bottom side. And then sometimes you need also the special tool, also a wooden block of wooden, for bring them between press ram and main support, and then lift up the cylinder, and then you can disconnect them with the hydraulic power. Yeah?
So you disconnect it from the base first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have extended cylinder, for example, you have disconnect all the screws, but this part here is in the press ram, and it's very tight inside. Yeah? And then you bring one wooden block in distance here between the both parts, and then you can lift up the cylinder, and in the most cases you can lift also the part and split the both parts. Yeah? Otherwise you need a big hammer.
Yeah, work smart, not hard.
Yeah, hammer is always a very important tool.
Of course. You're taking both cylinders out, right?
Yep. In this case, both cylinders are moving upwards. Yeah,
Okay.
because first of all, the cylinder with the with go lightly come first upwards. Yeah? And then after them, the next cylinder is coming. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see the other one on the other cylinder there.
Yeah.
The other bar.
Yeah. Normally we have disconnect both, yeah, and then you have lift up the press ram. The press ram is fixed, yeah, and then because the press ram can lift here, because you have the wooden block between, so the press ram can lift, and only the cylinder, rods come up, yeah, and I think you have, the maximum pressure. But I told you have, it's a little bit more detail. You have not the maximum pressing force. You have no 530 kilowatt pressing force. You only have the ring surface of the cylinder, and so you have a smaller force for lifting up the cylinder. But mostly it should be enough for split these parts. No? Otherwise you have to help with a hammer. Yeah. Yeah. We grease this part here. Yeah. By when we fix them in the machine, we grease them with a special greasing, yeah, and normally it should split, yeah. And you should also think about when you assemble new one, make here a greasing on this part, yeah, for your next technician or for your next maintenance. Yeah. Okay, these are the tool for move out the press plate, but it's not a complete special tool, yeah? And here so we can split both parts here, you see. And then, in this case, we have the press plate only on the drain here. Every other part are disconnected. Yeah? And then we can bring it downwards in the press chamber. But think about the press chamber is not parallel. The press chamber goes a little bit, yeah. And so we have also some parts in the on the bottom side, and so it can be when you bring it only downwards that it's jammed there, yeah. So it's supported with a wooden pallet, and then you can be sure that you have no jamming when you lift it up, lift it down in the press chamber, yeah. Okay. And in this case, when we have to remove them, for example, then we need, when we have to remove the press plate, for example, then we need this crane for overtake the press ram from this chain to this chain, yeah? And then we can take it up, and this crane is turnable, yeah? And so we can bring it on a single wooden pallet where we have to fix them for shipping, yeah? Okay. Here you see how it works. These are the bolts from the bottom side you see here. Yeah. Also some details where you can remove the half rings here. Yeah. Then you have to control by the new one. You have to control that you add exactly the same spacers, yeah, so that you have fixed the press ram in the press chamber as the part before. This is a new one then. Yeah. Then this is, okay, the torsion control system. You have to fix them again by the older one. By the new one, it's a little bit easier. Only you have the electronic part, and you have only disconnect the cable, not more. Yeah. Okay, this was replacing a press plate. And now replacing or removing a press cylinder. I think for this case we also need this special crane or a forklift on site. No? The crane is mounted or assembled on the back side of the machine. Normally in the frame there should be the holes drilled from our factory side, and then you can fix it and to bolt them on the frame of the press. Here the same situation, fix the press ram with the chain crane. Need this eye bolt, yeah. So you need this one, you need also this ring sling, yeah. Disconnect every parts here. You see also the wooden parts here, the wooden blocks, yeah. So and then you have to fix the cylinder from the top side. Yeah, you see you can remove the cylinder downwards, and then you reach the top of the cylinder, and in the top of the cylinder you find also a hole where you can drill in the eye bolt. Yeah, and on this place you can fix the cylinder with the crane. Yeah, here fix the press plate. And then you can move down the press plate completely. You don't have to remove this part here. You can also remove these boxes or this support parts on the top of the machine. So you can remove the press plate complete with the guiding tubes. Also possible, yeah? Make sure that your system is pressureless. Then look to the hydraulic tubes, disconnect them, yeah, and close the hoses, yeah, with a screw. And then you see here the cylinder is alone, and then you can lift up the cylinder with this crane and bring it outwards to a pallet, fix them for shipment. Yeah? Okay, I think this is the critical part of disassembly on site, and I think it's not so often that we have damaging cylinder by new one, because we have the torsion control system and we make sure that the cylinder don't get in pressure. By the old system, by the VL500, we have only one cylinder in the middle, and the press ram wasn't controlled during the pressing force, and though we got a lot of pressure on this cylinder, and we have more situations that the cylinder was damaged or the seal was damaged, yeah, by the old one. And by the new one, the cylinder works very long because we avoid them for stress. Yeah, and I think this is a good signal for you that your first cylinder changing is far away. But you know how it works and how you find some additional, some special presentations and some special helps. Yeah. Okay. Now let us come to a final presentation. Oops, yeah. It's called VDE. I'm not sure how you call it in America. We call it in German VDE test. It's a kind of electric rule and electric law, and it's also kind of DIN where we have following when we do the tests in Germany. But I think if it is a German rule or American rule or German DIN or American DIN, the situation is always the same. You have electric power, and electric power is not healthy. Yeah, when you are in contact. Yeah, in both countries the same. Yeah, yeah. So it's make no difference. Yeah, here or in Germany, when you have contact, you die by 208 voltage, also by 400 voltage. Yeah, so you have to be very carefully when you are in contact with certain electric parts. Yeah, and though in Germany we say, okay, we should have an electric qualified person who is able and who is allowed to open the part, to open the main board, and also to open, also to replace some parts. Yeah. You will see following some charts which we have to do and have to think about when we do that. Yeah. Here are some basics. So the last sentence is the most important for me. Of wearing the consular is at your own risk. Yeah, when you do something, it's every time on your own risk. I don't can take the responsibility for you. Yeah, okay. So I will give you only some parts. For example, this basic guide to the electric safety. Any work on, with, or in close proximity to the electric system is classified as a hazardous work. Yeah, of course, yeah. By hydraulic also, when you are work on pressure also, but normally by mechanic parts it's not so hazard as by hydraulic, by electric. By electric you don't see the risk. By other points you can see the risk, yeah. So, protection of your working area. Switch off the system using the main switch. It's most important before opening the control cabinet. What did I also disconnect the cable for be double sure. It makes sense in this case. Yeah. Keep in mind that all wires with a red cable are still live to ensure operation of basic function. Yeah. So it means all red cables in this cabinet are still on power also when you switch off the main switch. Sometimes we need permanent power for some additional options. For example, when we have bigger machines, we switch off the main switch in the evening after work, but we need overnight, for example, the tank heating or the tank heating. Yeah? And the tank heating should work the whole night. And so we switch off the main switch, but we have always power inside. Yeah? And these cables which have permanent power are red mantled in the cabinet. So don't touch this mantle when you have fixed wiring from the circulation. Yeah? When you have disconnect the main switch or the main plug, then you have no electricity. But by big cables you have no plug. You have a fixed installation. Yeah? And so you can disconnect the cable. Yeah? And so you should be sure that you have here internal some wired mantled cable. So here you see some rules, what means a qualified person as per German health and safety at work regulations. Yeah? You see here, normally a qualified person is a professional trained, means that a qualified person must complete or completed a vocation, education or academy studies. Yeah? Then you are very qualified. Professional experience means that a qualified person must have practical experience working with equipment comparable to the inspection system from his or her professional life also. And the third part, recent professional activities refer to activities in the field on the inspection to the performed or participations in further trainings. Yeah? So then you can say you are a qualified person. We split two different parts of protection classes. You know this kind of different. I think you have also here in your system the protection class 1 with 3 connector, yeah, plus and neutral, and also the earth connector, and you have also sockets only with 2 parts. Yeah. Protection class means all electrical conductive castings parts of the production equipment are connected to the protective system. Means the machine have metal chassis. Yeah? And when you touch the metal chassis, you should be ensure that the metal chassis is in contact to the earth contactor. Yeah? The next class, and this part, the first part, is what we have by all our machines. Every HSM press is in the protection class 1, yeah? Because we have a metal chassis, we have metal sheets, and some parts have to be in contact with the metal parts. By some smaller paper shredders, for example, we have only protection class 2. So it means we are double mantled chassis, only with plastic parts. You are not able to contact metal parts of the machines. Yeah? Then we have a machine in security or protection class 2. And the next one is protection class 3. These are machines with extra low voltage, not in our system. Yeah? This is here, for example, some parts here for load, for example, device, electric device, for example. This is protection class 3. Normally, it should also have this symbol on side. I'm missing this symbol here. No, it's not print on. Yeah. Okay, these are the 2 parts. And in baling presses, we only concentrate on the protection class 1. Means we have an earth conductor. And when we have an earth conductor, we have to check the earth conductor. And I will show you how it works. Yeah? The first test which we have to do is to the definition of the insulation resistance. This is the resistance measuring in ohm. Ohm is the resistant measurings, yeah, of lines, cable and electrical systems. Yeah? Therefore, it's the most important in protection personnel against electric shocks. Yeah? So you have to make sure that all cables have a good insulation. Insulation is the cable around the the metal line. Yeah? And so we have to check of all cables from the beginning of the socket up to the machine internal have a very good insulation, and there's no damaging of the insulation. Yeah? Insulation measuring must be performed on new systems. We do it in our factory before we deliver, because we can also damage such insulation by our assembling. Yeah, it's possible. As following rebuilds, when we make some changings, or when we do rebuildings, modifications, or by repairs in case of failures. Yeah? Every then we have to change, or we have to check the insulation. Measuring of the insulation resistance means we have to check them with mech ohm. Means when we have to measure this part, we need a big resistance, yeah, because we don't want contact between the lines. Yeah, so we have to measure a big resistant, measuring in ohm, or in this case in mega ohm. Yeah. We bring in with our special device 300 up to 500 voltage to make sure that we also measure some small damages between two lines. When we have 500 voltage, it can be that we have an overflash, for example. Yeah? And then we can measure that there's only a small damaging between the lines, but no direct contact. Yeah? Only damaging and a little bit space. And by 500 volt, we bring an overflash between the lines, and so we can measure all small damages. Yeah? So we need the high voltage for make the measuring. Yeah? What we do, the measurement is performed in individual steps in the following sequence. First, protective earth conductor called PE. You find them as a green yellow cable. Yeah? And you find them also in your plug. It's one part. It's a little bit different here. We can look also on your plug. It's a little bit different where we find the PE pin. Yeah? Then we measure the PE against neutral. Here in your system we have no neutral. Yeah? And then we measure the PE against all phases, phase L1, L2, and all L3. Yeah? And then we have to measure a value by every line more than 1 mega ohm. So a big resistance. When we have a big resistance, then we can ensure that we have no contact between the lines. Yeah? And for this, we need this special unit here. So we do it. This is the pin for PE. We will look on your socket here. We test here. We make one pin connected to the cable. Make sure that the main switch is off. Otherwise, we only make the measurement up to the main switch and not internal to the machine. We want to measure all the lines up to the machines. And then we measure here all the parts with the main lines L1, L2, L3 are connected. Yeah? The next one is to test the protective earth contactor. And in this one, we check all points which are in contact with the protective earth. Yeah? You see on very many points in the machine the green yellow cable. It means when we come from the house electric earth contactor into the machine, then we have to connect them to the motor, to the main board, to the machine frame, etc. And we have to measure that all these points have a low resistance. It's different. By the insulation, we have to find a high resistance, and by the earth contactor, we have to find and to measure a low resistance. Yeah? And this is the goal which we have, protective earth conductor resistance in ohm, not in meg ohm, and we should measure resistant PE, means resistant earth contactor, yeah? Smaller than 0.3 ohm, and then everything is okay. When you have a longer line, for example, you can adapt 0.1 ohm each 7.5 meter line. Yeah? This is the color, and this is the symbol of the protective earth. Yeah? And so we measure also from the PE pin in the socket to all points which are connected with the yellow-green cable. Yeah? Here, the door, motor, and also the machine frame. And make sure that you not measure on the color of the frame, put the color a little bit, and then you can measure directly on the metal, not on the color, because there you have also an insulation. Okay, and these are the both part. The next one which you have to test is that your circulate breaker is adjusted to the value according to the motor plate. Yeah, not too much and not too less. Yeah, you find this value here, and then you can adjust them on this small wheel here. Okay, and this is our special tool. I told you that the tool is very expensive, and not every technician has such a tool in his toolbox. Yeah, this part. And this is our inspection protocol, yeah, which our technician have to fill in when they make this kind of checks. Yeah. And by this check, we do not only check the measurement parts, insulation and earth protector, we also check all cables by few is the cable damaging. We disconnect the plug and pull the wire through the hand, and then you feel is there any damaging in a wire, because when there is a forklifter go over the wire, then you can feel that there is damaging. Yeah? You don't have to measure them, you feel it with your own hands. And one older technician said the best check which you can do before is open the board and smell. Yeah? And when you smell a little bit burning, then something is wrong. You don't have to measure them. There is something wrong. You can be sure. Yeah, it's the first test which you have to do. Yeah, and though also you have to control the cables sometime if there one cable loose. Yeah, and then it's also a point of view where you say, okay, look internal, and you see is there everything okay? Are there some cables brown, for example, or black? Then there was a kind of burning, yeah, and so on. So the best check is have a view inside and look before you started with measuring. Yeah. Okay, this is what I can say to the topic of electric. Yeah. Okay. Here I have some protocol. I'm not sure if you, Augusta, if you have also these protocols. There's some protocols for the basic checks, for example, hydraulic checks, check the hydraulic hoses, check hydraulic cylinder, check press ram, check the tape and wire needles, all the basic checks. And so we have here a list which you can say, okay, 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 or not okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if you have.
Other things, we do have checks like that, but we don't have anything.
For this
We
one.
could adapt yours, but
Okay, I have give you here only a PDF, yeah, because I got the information also from our guys from UK. They make the translation and they gave us or gave me the PDF documentation. If you need a documentation for print out, then I think you can also print out this one, or you can get also Word documentation. Yeah, and here you see all the parts, and this is what we make every year when we have a contract with our customer. We check every year the safety elements, for example. And also we check some electrical components every year. For example, the cable, for example, few in the cabinet. We don't make the tests every year, but some basic checks we make every year. Yeah? Also the function bail ready signal, for example, we check, and here some different parts. You see here the block 1, block 2, block 3, and here block 4 and block 5. And here you see which blocks we need by which machines. Not by every machine we have to check the hydraulic components, because by FA 500 we have no hydraulic components. Yeah? And so we only need the block 3 and block 4, for example. Yeah? But it's one document, and so you can see here what kind of blocks I have to check by these machines. And here is a special protocol for the electric tests: motor protection relay, motor protection switch, for example, the fuse of the transformer, the cables and the wirings. Yeah, all these parts okay or not okay. Line entry, also the entry line. Yeah, test it with your own hand. Insulation, operating controls, ground wire, for example, main insulation device, and then the next part is the measuring. Yeah, measure the resistance and measure the insulation. Yeah, ground wire resistance and the normal insulation. Yeah, and then inspection result, everything's okay or not. Yeah, then our technician have to sign them here and give one part to the customer, and the other part is stored in our documentation. Okay. Now when you exam the exam, or when you pass the exam, you will get such a certification. Okay? Yeah. Do you have some questions? Should we repeat some parts on the machine? Have you questions on the machine directly? Or is everything clear?
I think it was pretty clear.
Yeah, and the last couple things that you showed cleared up a lot of questions about changing the cylinder.
The cylinders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, that was good.
Yeah.
It's one of the-
I think when you started with selling these machines, I'll be sure that the cylinder have a long lifetime. Yeah. But you should know that you have some parts or some presentations in your background, and you can rework or can look in when the situation came. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But necessary and important is that you have, or you know who have the tools for this. Yeah. If HSM here have the tools for you, and when HSM said, okay, go and replace the cylinder on site, HSM have to send the cylinder on site, and then they should make sure that the special tools are also shipped to the customer. Yeah. And then you can do it on site when you have the tools. Yeah.
How do you-
Hoses and
Go ahead.
the hoses and the punches and
Everything. Yeah. Yeah.
The, when I go out on a call or something like that, and being it's such a hassle flying with tools and stuff like that, we usually send them down with parts
Mm.
to the location where I'm going.
Yeah.
And I just arrive and
Exactly. I mean, we do the same one. We have here also in Germany or in Europe, in Italy, in Spain. We have also some subcontractors who get once a month one order, for example. Yeah, not more. They work on different places, and when we need them, they get the order from us and replace or fix some problems on HSM machines. And we can say, okay, and you have invested in all these tools. Yeah, and although we don't want to give them the tools for free, because we have more than 100 different technicians who work once a month for us, yeah, and they want to not invest in all the tools, because the one guy said half year later, okay, bye bye, I not work longer for HSM, and then we have run to catch the tools again. Yeah. So we make also sure when we send them a cylinder, we put all the special tools which they need on site on the same pallet, or we bring 2 pallets to the site. Yeah. And it's cheaper before we invest in all technicians. Yeah. And though it works. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be easy.
Yeah, but I think some basic tools you should have also when you repair some parts on the FA, for example. The metric wrench, for example, is important also for you. I think it's
We gotta get a bigger hammer.
a bigger hammer. This is very important. Yeah. And a driller and a hammer. These are the basic tools, of course. Yeah. And a flex. You need also a flex sometimes. Yeah. I think when you see, I'm not sure if I have the tool list from our technician in our car. I'm not sure. No. No, I have not a tool list from our technicians. It's a long list. When we buy a new car for new technicians, there's a pretty long list which kind of tools we put in the new lorry or new truck. Yeah? But our guys are every time on machines, on HSM machines. And they are wearing the HSM shirt. And when they go to the machine and say, oh, sorry, I have not the correct tools in my car. Then the customer said, hey, you're coming from HSM. Yeah? The customers think also about that our technicians have all spare parts in the car. Yeah? And so, why do we have now a new cylinder in your car? Hey, look on my car. Yeah? It's not possible. We have such variants of cylinder. It's not possible to have a cylinder in my car. And also no hydraulic tube hoses, for example. So much different variants are not able to fix them in one truck. Yeah? And the customer think about, hey, it can be. The customer, the technician come and haven't the spare parts in his car. And I say, okay, how big should our cars are? Yeah, we big 25-ton cars. Yeah, when we want to ship all the spare parts with our technicians. Yeah, but the main tools he should have in his car. Yeah. Okay.
Driving around the semi.
Yeah.
Save that gas.
Move these 10 cylinders out of the way from the one I need in the back.
Yeah.
That'd be a mess.
Okay, I think these are the. Yeah, here I showed you the operation instruction, also part which I gave you on the stick. Up, no.
I don't think you clicked on the right one there, boss.
Yeah? No.
Yeah, just close that and then go back in and open another one.
No,
Oh, you're crazy.
it was not correct. Try it once again.
Try right.
Go back to that and right click. And at the top, so
Exit out of that.
exit. Right click.
I'm on my car, I don't know. right?
Cancel, where exit. There's no exit button, or?
Top right.
You still have right click and left click on that. It's just 2 fingers and 1 finger.
I'm not sure where it works.
Okay. Now,
Test the
right-
other one.
right
Oh, okay. The other one works, yeah? So I give you all the operation manuals of all machines, so you can read some things, but you will find here all the informations which I gave you before. For example, how install the machine, put under the rubbers, for example. Yeah, and all the information. But this information normally should also be on the machine. Yeah, but sometimes the customer don't find them, and you have this one now on your stick here. How you bring in the tape, for example, before starting pressing and so on. All these parts, some pictures you will find are the same pictures as I have in my presentations, for example. Yeah? Here, okay. all the parts here. And also here, the main fault code, and you find in your stored fault, 16 faults are stored, and here you can see what was the problem, 102, 103, and so on. And here you can see what you can do. Otherwise, you have to call HSM. Okay. This is the brochure here. For example, also here you can find all the informations to the V-presses, for example. It's not so important, you will also find them. Okay, what have you know? Hydraulic diagrams, here you will find all the hydraulic diagrams which I showed you in the hydraulic training. For example, here hydraulic diagram for the 1160. And so you have the original drawings here also. But all these diagrams are also in the manual normally. And here you will also mostly find the part which you have to adjust. For example, double or triple X means you look in the table below, and then you will find the values of the pressure. Okay. This is the machine which we have outside. The 1615. I have no separate presentation from this machine, only the manual, and you will see here all the parts and all the description of the machine, how you find the bale ready, for example, where you can fix the machine and lift the machine and so on. Okay. The HDS is a part which this one is the double stage unit, and in our showroom here we have only a single stage. So the machine is a little bit higher, but you can also flip off the front part, and you have a free look on all movable parts on the cutting units, and also on the main drive. And of the other side there are the rotation control, rotation. Okay. Here you find the part in the DIN. We have here the group H, and we have here by single stage security level of H4, and by a double stage security level of H5. Here you find the different measurements of the particle. And here you see what you have to do sometimes when you have to change the chain or tighten the chain, for example, and lubricate the chain. So you open only the flap on side, and then you have access to the chain, or can make lubrication, or also when you want to tighten the chain. Here, when you have to replace a chain, you see for this case you also need such a small car checker, or car checker? Car check, So we disconnect the old chain, and then we bring in the new chain, but this chain is very heavy. It's not able or not possible to put them together by hand. So we need support, the car check on this side, so we can lift up the motor, very good under control, and then you can connect the chain. In this case, you need also special tools, and this is also a tool which our guys need for turn a little bit this main wheel here, for example, because sometimes, not sometimes, normally you have a little burrow on this side, and then the chain is too short. And then you have to turn a little bit this main wheel here for tighten this side, and then you can connect these. but this wheel is only a special wheel. We haven't a spare number from this here, but it works very easy. Yeah? And then you have to connect the chain wheels or the chain. Yeah? And then on the other side you have control this light sensor or the fog light sensor. Yeah? Here you have the main boards, and you see when you look inside that there is a small display, but the display don't work. It works only when you connect this kind of jumper. Normally this jumper here is only on one pin, because it makes no sense that the display is working the whole time and nobody can see it. Yeah? And when you want to see some things on a display, you can read here the model, for example. You can read here the counts of jamming. You can read here the working hours and also the software version. Then you have to replace the jumper from one pin over both pins, and you connect both pins, and then the display works. Okay?
That's only on the 2-stage.
No, it's on both stage. You see here, this first jumper, the first jumper means then we have 2 stage. When the first jumper is missing, we have only a 1-stage machine. And when this bridge here is connected, then we have a FA500. And when the bridge is not connected, we have a HD 230. So different programs in the background. Yeah? So the same basic board, but with different programs. And the programs are activated with the jumpers or with a kind of bridge. Yeah? Okay? Here you see this bridge, you see here, is a jumper, a small part normally. It is in place only on one pin, yeah? And you have to replace them. Be careful, it's very small, this part. Yeah? Sometimes you then you haven't one. Yeah? So this is only for activated the display. Yeah? And this jumper is here for choose one or a double stage unit.
And the center one runs a 500 to communicate with a KP80 or an 88.
Yeah.
Because we got a machine that was sent up there. They didn't have any jumper on it. We didn't know about it.
Mm.
So I had to go up there and put the jumper on.
Yeah. Okay.
That was interesting. That was Gotham Shredder.
Yeah. Okay, this was the jumper. Here we have the conveyor belt. Yeah. There's a new one with the new belt here. You see the old one on the machine in the showroom, but the new ones are here in warehouse delivered. Yeah. You see, we have now a kind of labyrinth here for make sure that the parts be inside, not outside of the conveyor belt. Because in the past we have some parts outside and they cut off the belt because they're jammed between the rubber and the metal coverings. Yeah. But now I think we have no much problems with this new belt. Or do you have some problems?
We haven't had too many problems with the new ones.
Yeah.
Once they come out with the little coverings for the bottom roller, the tension roller, right in where it does the, it makes the turn up like
Yeah.
that bottom roller there, they now have a rotation sensor on that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And when I went on, the material, magnetic material got down between the walls of the conveyor
Mm.
and the edges of the roller, stopped the roller.
Okay.
So you get a jam in.
And then you have the jamming signal.
Right, so they
Mm.
blow it out with a compressor
Mm.
and it run for a little bit, but the stuff migrated off again.
Okay.
So, we talked to
Daniel Maxa.
Daniel Maxa.
Mhm.
He,
Ah, Daniel Maxa.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
got it straightened out.
Yeah.
And they came up with these plastic eyebrows.
Mm,
they call 'em.
mm.
They go over, they cover those over.
Okay, plastic is not magnetical. Yeah,
Yep.
this is the problem.
And they cut a 45-degree angle
Mhm.
on the rollers, which helped also.
Okay.
And we changed the bearings and that. And now I seen on a I don't know how they shear the drive roller, the axle, the main
Hmm.
drive, the
Mm-hmm.
extension of the drive roller. They sheared that off somehow or other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't think it had that much torque,
Okay.
but they created that same
And
configuration. of
and
the-
Daniel solved the problem, or is still working on this problem?
No, it's done. It
Yeah.
seems to have
Yeah.
been resolved.
I mean,
Okay.
they've made like a maintenance thing that
Mhm.
they have to take it out and clean it every now and again.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it seems to last, 7,000 drives.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Daniel's the father of this system. I think so, and he developed this.
Yeah,
And I
they've
think it's
also
the-
increased the length of the little green part.
Yeah. It's an aluminium part. Yeah.
The aluminum
Mhm.
part goes down further, and they have little plastic shields that are hook on to
Mhm.
underneath that goes behind the ruffle,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that also helps.
The problem is that it's a very chaotic system. You have magnetic parts and they fall down. Normally they should fall down, but the system is chaotically. Some parts find different ways. Yeah, you don't know why. Yeah, and so that's the problem. Yeah. Okay, but when you are in contact with Daniel, I think that's the right person
Yeah.
for this situation, and I think he work on this part.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in fact, those are the pictures that he sent
Mm-hmm.
when he first came up with the ideas for correcting that.
Okay. Yeah, I think this was my last presentation, or last PowerPoint presentation. I think there was a lot of information for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I hope I could train you some things, and I hope you can remember 1 year, 2 years later when you have to install the first machine.
Now we got this.
You have this, okay? No, remember.
And your phone number.
And my phone number. Okay. But think about, we have 6 hours different, yeah? Or 8 hours in your case.
Yes.
Then it can be a problem when you want to reach me after lunch.
That's right.
Yeah, you will find me in bed. Yeah? Okay. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure for me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, makes fun for me. I could also learn a lot of things from you. And I hope you could learn something from me. Yeah? So it was a nice time with you. Thank you for your coming. And I wish you all the best by some replacements or some maintenance on our machines.
Make
Yeah.
some money.
Yeah, make some money. That's important, yeah? Sell machines and
Fix them. Billable.
increase our turnover. Yeah.